When you think about your life, about the things you want to do, let's say that you have a plan for I don't know, the next 5 years maybe. Well, I've found out the hard way that in Spanish they say if you want to make God laugh, tell him about your dreams. If you want to make him laugh, tell him about your dreams. So I found out over the years that this tends to be true. When you think you have the moon in your pocket many times, well, things don't go as expected, right? More often than not. At least that has been my experience. I haven't really been able to do something that goes to plan from beginning to end. Like there's always something that goes wrong, something unexpected, right? Something unaccounted for. So, knowing this nowadays, I try to, well, be like water, as Bruce Lee used to say, even though it's very hard to adapt. But I'll give you one example. And a lot of it has to do with your emotions. Like, it has to do with how well you can regulate your emotions and how in charge you are of your thoughts, because your thoughts. I mean, I'm not saying anything new. It might be new to you, but this has been known, for a long time. Your thoughts condition or determine your emotions, right? So, for example, I volunteer at this one place, and there's this woman that well, she likes to complain, about things that to me are unimportant, right? I think she may have a self-esteem issue, right? So she tends to complain, and well, I was very diplomatic about it, and I, for a minute, for a second, I thought, I should just let her have it, man. Like, who do you think you are, telling me how to run my business here, especially coming from someone who, is not very successful herself. I mean, I don't want to be, I don't want to be offensive here, but this woman has a lot of deficiencies. Like starting with her weight, man. Like I've managed to lose a lot of weight recently, right? So if I can do it, you can do it, man. And if you, I mean, if you're overweight, man, if you're like excessively overweight, like come on, man, get it together. Get it together. Like you have no business. Now, of course, yeah, you might be overweight and you might be a great painter, a great musician. I mean, okay, that may be true. Um, but nonetheless, um, well, in this case, it's not really the case, right? I mean, this case is a person that just wants to. I think she just wanted a little bit of protagonism. She wanted to feel relevant. It seems. And so this ties to what I was saying before about your emotions, right? A lot of these people that I see around me here, they suffer, like, and so do I. I mean, but I've noticed that the more I'm in charge of my emotions, the more I can avoid feeling feeling desperate, and feeling Yeah, because a lot of it is desperation, and a lot of it is feeling inadequate, feeling that there's something lacking, that many times you're drowning in just desire, just anxiety, which is too much future, right? Or too much fear of the future, for the future. Like, all these problems that people go through, right? I mean, all these issues that people experience are clearly a result of their bad um, awareness. The quality of their thoughts. Their thoughts are very deficient. They don't see things for what they are. As they say, they don't see things in their suchness. Things are the way they are, not the way we would want them to be. And at the same time, there's many times when I've realized that, like nowadays that I'm older, I I look at things that 10 years ago I would take for granted, man, and like just having free time to just sit around, or like play my guitar, or just do nothing. Even though there is a lot to say for like being of like optimizing your time and not wasting time. I mean, it's also a great luxury to just sit around and walk around and look at, watch the wheels, as John Lennon used to say, right? Just watch the wheels rolling. Um, that now that I'm older, I see those things in a different light. I don't, they don't, I'm not bothered by so many things. It's like that song by, things that song that says, things that bother you never bother me. Uh, Coffee's only a dime, like, living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight. I mean, that is, isn't, the lyrics sound kind of naive, but that's where I'm heading in my life now, man. I'm heading in a direction where I'm not, I don't overly worry about shit, and there's always gonna be something to worry about, but I'll deal with it when it happens, and most of the time, the things you worry about are not even real. They're just fighting with ghosts, most of the time. So knowing that for me has been quite liberating. Has been really liberating. I'm actually, well, this is something a little bit not very class classy, or yeah, not very humble to say, but I'm really proud of myself, man, for having overcome so many limitations that I used to struggle with. So, hey, man, if you're struggling, which you probably are, well, give it time. Give it time. Things get better. You achieve more clarity of thought as time goes by. Especially if you can. It's like a fight. If you can pace yourself, you can make it to the championship rounds. Having conserved or preserved your energy, enough energy to make it through the championship rounds. Which is the last quarter or the last third of your life, however you may want to see it, right? Anyway, that's my story. Bye bye.